with. Lose my mind here. So this is episode 7 of Quarantine, Fitness and Life. So this is a platform that I've created to sort of talk about what we can do to sort of help improve and sustain our physical fitness during quarantine times, but also to just talk about things about quarantine, lockdown, in terms of like how we're feeling, how things are going, so we can sort of like help each other through this situation. So today I've got my main co-host Simon Chandler at Shredded with Simon on Instagram. So how's the last sort of week been? Because like I had you on as episode 5, I think, and we had a good chat there. So how's things sort of been since then?
It's been all right. Had a bit of a slump at the beginning of the week. Got the typical fed up of being inside vibe for a couple of days. Didn't throw me off track with goals and stuff, but I was, when you just feel a little bit like, I want to go out now. I did start. It was the first week actually that started to get to me.
Yeah.
I want to go and do things. But the week in general has been good. Everything I wanted to do, I've got done, so that's a positive. But yeah, definitely, I'd say this is the first week, and I spoke to quite a few people who said the same. Like, it's getting to that point now where it's a little bit like, I want to go and do things. So I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what you sort of said there, I mean, because like for us in the UK, I mean, that's us being sort of locked down for about 6 weeks, is it? About that now, isn't it? Yeah, so, I mean, so when you think of it, that's like a month and a half now. So it's not a surprise that, it's not a surprise that some people are starting to get agitated by it. But I think really with what you said there, because you've actually got sort of like plans in place for what you're trying to do you think that sort of helped you sort of get over that slump?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because I had something to turn to when I was feeling like, I don't really want to do anything today, but I have to do this because I've kind of planned that I'm going to do that. And I made a public announcement earlier in the week on a day I was going to release a product. Right, so okay. I have to get it finished. So I kind of made myself accountable by mentioning it to quite a few people. So I had to follow my plan, even though in the mornings I was feeling a bit like, I just want to do nothing today. so yeah, I think having that plan and having my training plan all written down and what I was going to do has definitely helped. So yeah, I would say I would have been a bit lost without it, because I would have just sort of done nothing. I would have sort of caved into that feeling of, I don't really want to do anything. So I think having that structure in advance was super useful for me.
Yeah, no, and that's something that I think for me, I've not necessarily felt like I've had that downward slump. I think it's because of just almost what you said. I've just got so many things on the go that I don't have time to just sort of I don't have time to really sit and think about what's going on, because I've just got always things on the go. So I think that's why it's so important to have some sort of idea of what you maybe want to do for that day or that week, because we've sort of talked before about being productive is a great distraction, but that doesn't mean that we need to be productive every single day, especially on days where you just don't feel like it. Because like you said, you had a bit of a slump there. It's okay to have that slump. We're going to get it, but it's just to accept that and go, you know what, right, okay, I'm feeling a bit down for that, but I need to get stuff done. When I'm ready to do it, I'll get it done. So, I mean, is that kind of how you sort of felt with it all when you had your slump?
Well, I actually kind of reversed it on myself and said, right, you feel like this now, but you've got stuff to do. So get your stuff done and then you can have a day off. So, so today was just my day off. I did I did a workout, I did train, because I've been sort of doing small workouts every day, but I didn't do any work, no clients, nothing, just leisure time, a day of leisure time, which is, you always have a day of leisure time when I'm at work, so I have a day off, and it's usually Sunday, so I've started to try and continue my routine like that, to have either Sunday or the weekend off if I haven't got too much to do. So yeah, I kind of delayed gratification by saying you can have a day off, but you need to do something first. Self-discipline.
Do you know what? I think that's actually a really good point to put there. But a lot of us probably don't necessarily have the same structure now. But actually, just almost make it like, okay, well, it's a Saturday, Sunday, so that's going to be my days off, because that's when I would have had a weekend anyway. Or I'm going to if I do something today, I'm going to have the next 2 days off. I mean, I think that's actually quite a good thing just to actually do it. I didn't even necessarily think about that until you really said it there.
Yeah, I think it's useful because I find myself, even today, like I said, I have a day off, and I did find myself thinking, oh, I've actually got these videos that I need to edit, but I can do that tomorrow. But I'm still thinking, oh yeah, but I can do it because I'm at home. I had the opposite problem today. I had to force myself to not do stuff.
Not do it, yeah.
I had to force myself to do stuff. So grass is always greener, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose it's just getting that balance, really, I suppose, yeah. So I mean, one thing I sort of wanted to sort of talk about today, I suppose, was goals, you know, because a lot of people maybe they might have lofty ambitions of things they might want to achieve, but actually making it happen is the issue. Because I always like to say the difference between a dream and reality is the action.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, but it's actually making that action happen, which is always the issue. So I suppose in getting to that action, I mean, what generally would you sort of like say to people that they sort of would need to sort of do if they've got maybe things that they want to try to be getting on with during these quarantine times, because they've got like maybe an ambition to maybe learn a language, play guitar, get in shape, do some sort of course or whatever it is that they feel like, I want to use this time to improve on this or do this. What type of things do you think they should be looking at to sort of like try to make that come to fruition?
Well, I think one of the main things is what gets measured gets managed. So
yes,
in an ideal world, it's nice to say, oh, I want to learn this, I want to do this, but it's like there needs to be a definition of actually where you want to get to, so you can measure how far you are along. So because it's quite easy, especially again using fitness as an example, to transition over to resistance band workouts from doing weights, what I'm used to, and not be able to track the progress. So you need to create a new system to track your progress, and I think that could be with any goal. You need to really define what you consider successful, because if you don't know exactly where you're heading, you can't really measure it, so you won't know how far you are along, and then it's easy to get demotivated when you haven't really got a set goal, like a proper goal that you can measure. Because a lot of people are, I just want to lose a bit of weight, and it's not. You can measure how much weight you've lost, but you can't measure what percentage towards your goal you are, because you weren't specific enough in the first place. So I think you do have to be like, obviously not everyone knows it, but you got your SMART goals. They have to be specific and they have to be measurable. That's like the two first things. So I think setting a measurable goal is like really, really important, and actually structuring how you measure it. Because it's easy to say, I'm going to measure something and not measure it. Do you know what I mean? So it sounds like a stupid thing to say, but I can say, well, I want to grow my arms by an inch while we're in quarantine. That's a measurable goal. But if I don't measure my arms weekly to track whether I'm going upwards, downwards, staying the same, I don't know how to adjust my plan to get closer to my end game. So you need to actually make action towards measuring your progress as well as the actual thing you're doing. I think that's one of the things you can start considering in your plan. Like I I do measurements twice a week in the morning. I weigh in every morning and take a average of my weight, so I know my weight's going up and down and if body part measurements are changing. But if I didn't measure that, looking in the mirror, it's hard to know. So it's not measured properly. So I structure my measurements, and you could do the same. It'd be the equivalent of learning a language and doing a test once a week to see if you're making progress or not. Do you have to revisit what you've done already, or do you move on to the next bit? So definitely measure everything. By the way.
but I definitely agree. I mean, I do like that phrase that you said there. What gets measured gets managed, you know? Because, I mean, even with sort of like my clients, what I try to really get them to do is we'll basically have a check-in every 2 weeks. And in that, they fill in a sort of like metric spreadsheet. And then what that's got is like what their weight was in the current week they're doing, but then also the previous fortnight before. And then also it's got their metrics as in their arm measurements, thigh measurements, waist measurements, chest measurements. And we use that to sort of see the progress that's going on over time. So again, it's that sort of thing. Is you can actually see what's happening, because a lot of the times we look in the mirror the problem with looking in the mirror is that we see ourselves every day, and these changes in terms of physical fitness, they're so small and so minute. It takes a long time for us to really notice it. Because I'm pretty sure you've actually had it quite a lot of times where people will come up to you and go, Simon, you're looking really in good shape. And you're like, am I? Because you've not really noticed it. But then maybe in 2 weeks afterwards, you then sort of see, because we ourselves, we're always the last people to actually see the changes because we see ourselves every day. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Is that something that you've sort of seen, or has that happened to you before?
Oh, it happens at the gym all the time. My favourite one is, like, you're looking really big lately. I'm like, my weight hasn't changed. I don't really feel like I look any different, but people will say it. And you do notice later. You're like, oh yeah, maybe I was. Or you look back at pictures and be like, oh, actually, comparatively, I've changed. But yeah, it's hard to notice. And what you said about your creating something for your clients to take measurements on, or you're doing measurements with them, is they've got someone holding them accountable, which is also I think that's really important as well, because you're not necessarily in a position where you have to be doing something on your own. Like, so you can if you can afford it, you can hire a coach, but there are ways to be held accountable by, like we said, doing tests or having a coach or whatever it might be that you're doing. It will depend what you use to hold you accountable, but there are loads of ways, and you don't have to do it on your own. Even if it's telling your friends, like I said earlier, I had to get something done by a set time, so I told everyone I'm going to do it. So it's like, the pressure comes from me, but all it is by telling people. And that doesn't work for everyone, I don't think, because sometimes it creates the opposite effect because you don't want to do it because there's too much pressure. So it depends on your personality, what technique you use.
Yeah, but I still think that accountability it's the thing that's most important, because it's basically making it real. Like, if you schedule something, then you're actually making it real. Because if you don't schedule it and you just say, "Oh, I'll do that," there's nothing holding you to do it. So, yes, having maybe the accountability of someone else, be that a coach, be that a friend, or whatever, that's a strong way of doing it. But you can also just do it to having a logbook or a piece of paper. You just write down going, okay, well, this is what I want to achieve in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks time. And then that's where you try and work towards that, because you've written it down, you've put it, that's what you want to achieve. So that's not necessarily going to someone else and saying it. So if you feel that might be too much pressure, then you can just do it as that sort of contract to yourself. Because you don't want to let yourself down,
Ticking stuff off feels good on a list. Exactly. I love ticking lists off. Done that.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you're getting down that list, and then when you get that last tick, where you've completed that page,
I've done it.
And I feel it goes back to what you've sort of said before in previous slides, that setting yourself up in the day with getting one task done, so that knocks our success out of the way. So you're like going, okay, I'm starting to pause. No, that's almost like what that sort of tick box approach of writing it down on a piece of paper, what you're trying to achieve. I think that does the same type of thing. Would you like to say so?
Yeah, I think so. And I think also the thing is, like, what you asked is, if you've got a big goal you want to achieve, how are you going to get there? And I think sometimes the bigger the goal, the harder it is for you to have clarity on what you're actually doing. Yeah. And I'll use my fitness program I'm making at the minute as an example. I was really good at starting it. Really good at that.
Everyone's got that.
I'm great at having the idea. I love doing the exercise programming, because that's exciting when you go, I'm going to do that exercise, and then testing it out and doing all the workouts. That's really cool. And then comes the nitty and gritty bit of writing it down, filming videos, and there's that middle bit where you don't feel like you're getting anything done. And that can make or break a project. So you really need some little goals in the middle, albeit I'm going to complete that section, and that's, I've done that section, brilliant. Now I'll move on to the next bit, or then I'll do the videos in the middle, or just create some kind of changeability, something different you can do that's still working towards, because sometimes monotony can kill progress if you're doing the same thing. So I get really bored just sat in front of the computer, because I can suffer it for a few hours, but I want to do something else. So I have to say, right, up until lunchtime I'm doing that on the computer, then I'm going to go and I'll do my workout, or I'll break up the day. But I need to have those little wins, because there's still that middle bit where you go, oh, it doesn't. If I show someone this, it looks like I've done nothing today. but I've done loads of stuff. But it's just not. You can't see it until the end. So yeah, definitely setting the little targets along the way is really useful, because if you've got a big project, you can kind of get lost in how far you are away from the end.
And the thing is, what you said there, I mean, it just relates to everything so much. But even let's bring it back to sort of fitness, because well, that's what this is sort of part of as well. Yeah. When people are trying to get in shape, so they start at a certain position, so they're at point A and they want to get to point B, and you said a sort of thing of that people get lost in the middle. So let's say someone has made a little bit of progress, and then they stick to it, and then they're in that bit in the middle where they're looking at themselves, maybe the scale's not moving the way that they expect. They look at themselves and go, I'm not seeing any changes, I'm not making any progress. You said there, this is the point that people can make or break people. All that person needs to do is to actually stick at it. But a lot of people in this position, they end up just giving up because they think, oh, this isn't working.
Yeah,
whereas,
exactly.
And you said before that, more of the time, we see the changes much more delayed than everyone else does it with us.
Yeah,
it just means that people are giving up before the fruits of their labour are coming. And that's almost like what you sort of said there before. You know? Is that something you agree with?
100% true. I mean, even for the more experienced guys, like who are doing competitions and stuff, you cut down for a show and you look really different, and it doesn't take that long. Say you diet for 12 weeks and the changes come fast because you built your muscle, but you're at a decent level now, and then you've got another year you want to build up a bit more, and you get quite big and bulky in the off season. You think you've made loads of progress, but there's only a limit to how much you can make, really, how much your body can build. So then you cut down the next year, and you only see small. You made some progress, but small changes, and you think, oh, I don't really look that different. But if you give up then, and you could have done another year, you look very different from the beginning. But there is that period in the middle, especially if you're doing it naturally, which I assume most people watching this will be, because they're not taking it to the extreme. There is that bit at the beginning where you make loads of progress, or you're a newbie and you've never done any training before, and you make loads of progress, and then there is always that middle bit where your body starts to adapt to it, and the progress slows down. But just because it's slower doesn't mean it's not happening, and the build up by the end is going to be a lot different. But you have to suffer that bit in the middle where you don't think you're making progress, which is why, you know, I've used that example a lot of times, like the bench press. It will shoot up, the number will shoot up at the beginning, and then it will be here going up slightly, but you need to set yourself little weight goals, or set yourself process-based goals rather than result-based goals. So, which, I mean, that's really key with the gym, because my goal is to get on an Olympia stage and be a fitness guy. But all of my goals in the gym are based on something different. They're based on the process. The result comes from the process, but my goal, it's a different thing, because you have to do the work to get that physique. So all of my goals are based on the process. They're lifting a heavier weight, doing an extra rep, or doing a new exercise, getting more effective at form. They're all different little goals along the way, but they're not 100% related to what I'm actually going to do. And I think that could be the same with any of your little projects, is the work you're doing in the middle isn't the result, but you need to set yourself a goal based on the process so you stay motivated all the way through. Like doing a spelling test when you're learning French, or doing a section on a website, getting it finished. And even if you're showing your friend or saying, oh, brilliant, I did this section, or I aced that test, you need to, the end goal is learning another language, but you're not going to learn it all at once. So you need to you need to have that build up throughout. And it could be fitness, could be anything, but process-based goals are super useful.
And I think really the key thing there was the fact that things need to be a process, but in that process we need to have a series of habits that we do daily or weekly that are aligned to that. Because if we do not have the things that we're, like, for instance, like you're saying, that you're pretty much doing this sort of program that you're writing and creating, doing videos for, that means that you have to film the videos like every day or every second day, whatever it is, or you need to write the programs. As much as that sounds obvious, but you need to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, that a lot of people, because they have the lofty goals of things, they don't think, okay, well, what do I need to do right now? Like right now, that's going to get me to there. Okay, that's when to do it. And I think that's where it comes down to, that we need to actually do things on the days, on the weeks. And as we get these done, that will make us better and better, closer and closer to that goal. Because if we don't do these things, or just do things as we feel, then we're not going to get there quick enough. And because we're not getting there quick enough or getting there, then that can demotivate us even more. Because we're not even making progress, because we're not even putting the effort in really to do it. So again, it all really does come from us, and from us having a structure of habits to go, okay, well, I'm planning to do this today, this tomorrow. I'll take the third day off, do it again on the fourth day. Whatever it is, but we need to act. That's what comes down to, that accountability. We need to go, okay, well, this is what I've set out that I'm going to do here. I've written this out here. I need to do this so I'm not necessarily falling off track. And that's the thing. It's about trying to not fall off track. Try to keep it like a consistent train on the tracks going to its destination. I mean, is that something you agree with?
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, there's staying on track, but there's also the getting on. I think sometimes the getting on is the hardest bit. Like, because you can it's easy to make plans. How many little plans have you made in your life for a business you're going to start, or something you're going to sell, or something you're going to make? There could be hundreds of them, if not thousands of thoughts you've had in your life. But like what you said earlier was really key, is thought to action. There's that little bit in the middle where a thought becomes an action or it doesn't. And I think you have to really, like 90% of being successful at something, and this is actually a Joe Rogan quote I saw the other day, 90% of success is just showing up.
Yeah.
So like, if you're doing, let's say, what I'm doing, you're building a training plan, you have to just get in front of a bit of paper and start writing. That's like 90% of it is just getting started and doing it every day. Just getting started every day. And some days you'll write crap and you won't be happy with it and it'll go in the bin. But another day you might write something good that you're happy with and you keep that. But if you keep doing it and be consistent every single day and towards what you're trying to achieve, even if you get small wins every day, but you need to show up. Like with me, earlier in the week with my slump, not wanting to do any work, oh God, it was hard to just get started. But I knew if I didn't get started, I'd be way behind. Yeah. So like literally the first thing is just going, I've got to do it and show up and get working on whatever it is you have. And I think having a routine really helps that. So saying like 9 o'clock in the morning every day, I'm going to start this. And if you get an hour done, you get 2 hours done, you might get 5 hours done. But at least you've got something done. As long as you've got a plan to start, really key. People forget that. Starting is hard. Even when you're really motivated, even for me now, sometimes like today, I want to train. I love training. But it doesn't always mean every single day I really feel motivated to do it. Yeah. It's not every day. Like, I'm dedicated to getting it done, but I'm not always motivated to want to do it. Because it's hard. Training hard is difficult. So sometimes you just don't want to. That happens to me today. I only had a small workout because I do rehab for my shoulder, which is part of my new goal, that I'm just trying to sort out my injuries. And it's painful, some of the things, because it's injured, right? So I'm just like, I won't do it today. And in the morning I had that, I'm not going to do it today. And then I had to sit down, make up and go, well, I'll slot it in then. I have to do it. And as soon as that pen hit the paper at that time, 4 o'clock, I'm going to do it. That was it. It's happening. So yeah, it's not easy, but people have to admit that it's not easy. There was I don't know if you saw it earlier. There was a post by Ryan Terry, you know, the British. Oh yeah. Olympia physique. Yeah, he did. He's always Mr. Positive. He's such a nice guy. I've met him a few times. He's a really cool guy. Really, like, doing really well. He's won the Arnold Classic. He's one of the top guys. And he's had a few injuries and stuff, but he's always like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to win the Olympia. And he came out with a video, I think yesterday, like a 7-minute video of him saying, do you know what? I'm not really as real with everyone as I think I should be. and he had a whole explanation of how tough the last couple of years, and he never shows anyone because there's pressure in the fitness industry to be Mr. Positive all the time, which I agree with. I agree with that. There is a lot of pressure. But he said it hasn't been like that for me. Behind the scenes, I've been really struggling, and he opened up about how it was difficult, but he still got it done. So no matter what level you're at, you could be the best in the world, there's still going to be days when you don't want to do it and you feel crap. And he came out and he explained how he felt like that, and I think that's really good. And I think more people should be real about how they feel. Like, you probably noticed that with me. Like, I try and be motivating, I'm always honest. Like, if I've had a crappy day, I will tell people that I'm not perfect, I don't always feel motivated, but I still do it in spite of not feeling like it, and that's why I'm successful at what I'm doing, or that's why I get it finished at least.
Yeah. Right. I think the thing with social media is that people look into it the way that they want to look into it. And yes, people might project certain things about their lives because they only can show what they want to show, but for anyone to ever achieve anything in life, this is regardless of what you see in social media or whatever. And you talking about Ryan Terry there was a really great example of it, but it's not about being motivated, because motivation motivation just doesn't last all the time. But what does last is why you want to do this. Why do you want to make the change? Why do you want to get there? That is the thing that when the chips are down, just like what it's been like for you, that you just go, I can't be bothered doing this, but then you go, but I have to do it because I want to get here. Whereas if all people relying on this motivation, then it just comes down to, I don't feel like doing it, and there's no other safety net to drag them back. Just go, no, you need to do it because of this. And I like to use my analogy here of work. So people go to work, and I'm pretty sure that not everyone is motivated to go to work all the time. You know what I mean?
75% of people in the US don't like their jobs.
Well, there you go. So that even sort of proves there. So then you've got to look at, okay, and it comes down to, again, why then is it people go to work? There's lots of reasons, but I'd probably go down to like two basic ones of that people, and these people that probably really enjoy their work, they do it because of the clients, the customers that they serve, who want to make them have a good service, or as Simon showed there, it's the financial reasons because people need to survive, you know. Those two things are powerful motivators. So when you're in bed and you've only had, let's say, 3 hours sleep, your alarm goes off, and you're like, I need to go to work. You could not go to work because you're not motivated to go. You know, you're not motivated to get up, but you still do because of those reasons. If you can understand what your reasons are for the things that you want to do or say you want to do, if they can make you go to work for something that you maybe don't even like as well, or you're not motivated to do it, then they can make you do whatever it is you set your mind to. Be it to try and get in shape, like what we try to do in terms of competing, or just in general to be in shape, to create a program, to write a blog, to do a podcast, to whatever it is. It's understanding why you want to do this. That is the key that's going to make you not need to rely on motivation. Because when you can stop relying on motivation, then you can actually do whatever it is you want to do. I mean, is that something you agree with?
Yeah, I think a lot of people who are in that position that they don't like their jobs, they're operating their life out of fear of something bad happening. Which is not a good way to survive. It's a good way to survive, but it's not a good way to live. And I think, because there's always that someone can take something away from me mentality. If you've got a job, there's someone paying you money to do your job, right? Let's give the example that you don't like your job, which is probably not us, because I know we both really like doing what we do. But there are a lot of people that don't like their jobs, and they're getting paid by someone else to do whatever it is they might be doing. There's the fear that if I don't go to work, I won't have that job to go to, and the job is my safety net. But if you consider, have you ever heard of something called opportunity cost?
As an economist, yes. I did that yes, I know opportunity cost very well.
But you can apply opportunity cost to your life.
Yeah.
So So the opportunity cost of you not doing something to improve your life is taking something away from you in your own future. So that people don't look at not achieving their goals as the same way as not going to work.
Yeah.
But you might not get that paycheck now because you didn't go to work. But if you didn't do that little thing for yourself, your future could be way different if you just kept doing it. But because you don't physically have it now, you don't feel like it's being taken away. But it's like we said, it's an opportunity cost to not doing something in the future has cost you big time on something you could have had. And that can work with fitness, especially. If you don't go to the gym, you've taken away your summer body that you could have had if you went to the gym. But that was your choice. But you've taken it away from yourself. But if you wanted to go to the gym and I said to you, you can't go to the gym, I'm going to lock you away, you'll be mad because I've taken it away from you because you wanted it. But you don't apply the same rules to yourself that you apply for someone else imposing that on you.
Yeah.
Like lockdown.
I'm sorry, no, I'm going to say that again. It works perfectly. No, you go.
We have to be at home now. We have to do our home workouts and everything. And we're all real mad that freedom's been taken away from us and we can't do it. But really, if you decided to stay at home, and let's say I didn't go out for a month, which probably happens quite a lot, you know, unless I'm going to work. But let's say I stayed at home for a month and I didn't do anything. Would I be mad at myself in the same way? Probably not.
Yes.
Because I've made that choice. But really, I've taken away the same things out of my life. But it just becomes more evident because someone else has taken it away from you. So you should really, if you want to achieve stuff, you really start holding yourself accountable however you can.
Yeah. And using lockdown as that sort of analogy, I mean, obviously it's very apt, you know, but
the accident, but it does work.
No,
right?
but that is the thing, is that if we want to achieve something, we've got to almost impose that on ourselves of we have to do it. We have to have that almost like do or die mentality with it of, yes, I can do whatever I want to do now, but if I want this goal, I want to achieve this certain thing, then I need to forego certain things to make this happen, aka what you call the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost base is that you need to give up something now to achieve something later.
Yeah.
So with me, I mean, I've recently posted my sort of like 17-week fat loss transformation that I did. So I started 1st of January, so up until pretty much the end of April, I lost 16 pounds over the 17-week period, you know. If I didn't make any changes from the 1st of January and kept on doing what I was doing previously before, I wouldn't have lost that weight.
Yeah.
The only way I did that was by going, okay, well, I need to make a change and I need to actually stick to a certain process and program, hold myself accountable to do this, to make this happen in the future. So I had to give up certain things, you know. I obviously had to train, so that time had to be spent training. I had to spend time making the right types of food that I need to have, so that time was spent doing that than other things I could have done. But then it comes back to what are your priorities in life, because we've all got the same 24 hours, so we need to apply them to what it is that we want to achieve. The secret of our success is in the daily actions, the habits and routine and the things that we prioritize. So if we're not achieving things that we want to achieve, or we're not getting what we want to achieve, we need to look at what are we doing in our days to get to where we want to be. Are we doing these things to get there? Cool. We might need to then revise what we're doing a bit just to make sure we get there either faster or more efficiently. If we're not getting there, then we need to look at, okay, what are we actually really doing here? Again, it's holding ourselves to account in that sort of way, as you said. So, I mean, is there anything else that you sort of want to add to that?
Yeah, I just thought of another little analogy about it. Really, it's to do with fitness. Is that if your competition shredded, and you think I look incredible, every wrong food you have or something is taking that away from you. So it's a very visual change. So it'll be not easy to perhaps hold that, because that's an extreme example. But to have a six-pack, you could keep it pretty comfortably if you were sensible, because you can see it being taken away from you if you make the wrong choices. And I think that's why it's more difficult for people that are trying to get in shape, because there's nothing being taken away, but there isn't necessarily being something given. So I think that a way to get it's tricky, but I think in terms of motivation, especially in the situation we're in now, is to believe that you can do stuff, because it's really easy to be going, oh, I don't have the gym. I can't do it because I don't have the gym, or I can't do it because I don't know what I'm doing, or I can't do it because it's easy to make excuses because you don't believe in yourself. And I think that's super key, is to have that little bit of self-belief, because there's a very, very minute population who can't do something if they set their mind to it. I think most people, if I decide today, right, I'm going to work towards this goal, if I work at it every single day, I will get there. And I think that's the same for most people, if you're willing enough to put the work in. But a lot of people don't think like that. They think that they can't, and that's, like you said this in one before, I think, that we've done a live. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right.
Right. Yeah.
So you need to start believing in yourself, even if someone has to believe in you for you. But reach out to people who are going to give you positive vibes, and that's especially important now we're at home. Maybe on our own, you might be with some loved ones, which is brilliant. But if you reach out to the right people who are going to give you that nice positive energy to help you believe in yourself and get you started. So like we said, starting's hard.
Yeah. And one thing that I sort of like think about in these situations, because I think that's really great that you said that a lot of people just don't have that sort of self-confidence, or they just naturally default to, I can't do this, or it's going to take ages, so I can never get. If you've got that mentality to start with, it's always going to be hard for you to then actually make it happen, because we need to appreciate things take time. We need to appreciate things take effort. We need to appreciate that we need to be committed to it. If we don't have any of these three things, we can't do anything in life. So let's go to something like a key skill that people may have had, driving. Not everyone, probably who's now got a driver's license now, probably found that easy to start with. But the reason they've actually been able to pass their test is because they still kept on putting the effort in. They appreciate it'll take time, and they were committed to it. If they used those same three things in anything else they do in life, they would achieve it. And another thing as well is the sort of 10,000 hours theory. So I think if you looked at it in terms of, let's say, someone who worked a 9 to 5, I think it works out to something like 2 years. So also what you're trying to say is that that's the sort of length of time it takes to become really good at something.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to achieve something, to try and expect it overnight, we always hear this phrase, nothing happens overnight. This is why. Because it takes time for us to get good at something, for us to understand it to the level that it applies to us and we can almost do it without thinking, or it's like walking and breathing to us. It takes that time for it to become to that level with us. I mean, you've had it in terms of, let's say, learning to become a person where you want to really take it to the next level with that, to become a competitor, the things you need to learn. Did that happen overnight for you?
No, and I'm happy to admit that when I was younger and I thought I knew everything, I didn't know anything, really, to be honest. And you have to be willing to be bad at something to be good at something.
Yes.
Like, and that is the big sort of oxymoron of getting good at something. Is unless you've got a natural knack or talent for something, which could be something physical like athletics or something, you're just naturally good, which some people are. Some people are lucky. But if you decide you want to be good at something that you haven't tried before, you have to be willing to go through that stage when you're crapping, because that's how everyone starts. Like, every Olympic athlete was once a kid who'd never done it before. Right, everyone's done that. And there was a great thing that I read a little while ago, which makes about giving up. It's like, if a baby falls down 5 times trying to walk, does it say, "Oh, this walking thing's not for me"?
Yeah.
No, you just get up again and you try again, because because you're stubborn, because that's like a process of learning when you're young. Kids learn to walk. Some take longer than others, but they don't give up. You don't give up. It's taken me ages to do it. Now I'm just going to crawl for the rest of my life. No, that's not what happens at all. And that you can apply that principle to anything, but you've got to be willing to go through that bit and willing to fail. if you want to do a competition, you've got to be willing to lose to enter.
Yes. Yeah.
And that, whether you believe you're going to lose or not, but you have to be willing to take that risk, because you're not going to know whether you're going to win or lose until you try. So,
yeah, and I did the baby. I use that one all the time as well, because it is something that's so poignant. Because I think, and it just comes back to what another thing you said there, which is perfect. They're scared to fail. They're scared to actually not be great at something straight away. I mean, even me doing these sort of like Instagram lives with like yourself and other people, at the start of last year, that was the first time I ever did any live chat or even really spoke in my stories, and I felt nervous. I felt that I wasn't sure how I was coming across, and I wasn't sure if I'd have anything good to say, all these things. But the more you do these things, the more you start to get a bit more of a knack of it, the more that then your mannerism becomes, the more comfortable you get in it. So now the degree that I'm doing these with, like, yes, I've spoken to you many times, but I do these lives with people that I've never met before. And you can only really get to that type of level by just doing it daily, weekly, or regularly. This is the only way we get good at anything, and that's why your baby analogy in this one I use is perfect. I mean, we need to think more like kids. Kids don't overly care too much to the degree, especially young ones, about what other people think. They just want to know why things are the way they are, and they want to be able to do things. Yeah. To the baby here, as you said, it's like all the baby wants to do is keep on walking. It can't walk, so it just keeps on trying and trying, falling. And even its parents might laugh at it, going, "Oh, there's my baby trying to walk," but it doesn't care. It truly doesn't care, because it just goes, "I want to walk." And one day it does, and it gets all the adulation. The parents go, "Oh, great, but where was the support before?" So it's all just about being a bit more single-minded. But in terms of the failure, and there's another one, I like to use this one about riding a bike. If we are scared to fail or to fall, when we take the training wheels off a bike or the stabilizer off a bike, we'll never then ever learn how to ride a bike. Because if we're scared to fall, then we're not going to try to get on.
Yeah, that's true. And I think
feeling's part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think going back to what we basically were talking about, goals, this whole live, that whole fear of failure can make people set very small goals.
Yeah.
So I was talking about this the other day, actually, on one of my posts, that I could set myself a really small goal that I know that I can do. And I could go, yeah, I've done it. But it wasn't really even a goal, because I knew I could achieve it. And it's that kind of thing. It's like not studying a test. So you can blame not study. Oh, but I didn't study, so obviously I was going to fail. That's the same principle. It's just like, well, I'm scared that if I do study and I fail, then I feel like a failure. So it's self-protection. And it's the same thing with setting those small goals that you know you can pass. So you have to be putting yourself in a position where you might fail if you want to get better. And the gym is the perfect example.
Yeah, yeah.
If I don't try a lift that I might fail, I'm not going to get stronger, because I need to get used to that stimulus to get to the next one. So I need to try something I might not be able to do. So that's why the gym is such a good analogy for life.
Yeah.
To be honest.
100%, and even going to the more literally cellular level of it, is that in order to change our bodies, to develop the muscle mass, to develop body shape, we need to put the muscles under a stress that it's not experienced before. It needs to get taken out of its comfort zone. But in doing that, we damage the muscle to a degree, and then we get the calories in, we get the sleep in, and then it repairs. So in failure, that is where it grows. We are the exact same as people. Look at anything that we've ever learned. We've usually probably learned that by making a mistake.
Yeah.
Be it learning how to ride, riding a bike, trying to pass a driver's test, being at a job and having to just trying to learn something. You've generally made a mistake before you knew how to do it. So the fact that people are scared to make mistakes, when you think of it, it's crazy, because we're always going to make mistakes. It's the way that we generally learn best as people. even look at relationships. We generally have to go out with so many different people to maybe even realise who we like, what we like, what is it we've maybe done wrong before we understand what we need to do, what we like, we have to accept that we need to make mistakes. The thing is learning from them, and I think that's what. If people look at it that way, that you know, it's fine that I've made a mistake, or it's fine that there was a failure in this, but they should be asking, what did I learn from that? And that should take away a lot of the fear of failure. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think every mistake or failure is just a lesson in disguise. If you look hard enough, it's like your driving test thing. I failed my driving test 5 times. Not scared to admit it. But I learned what not to do for the next one every time. And I made 5 different mistakes before I finally passed. But in the one I finally passed, I didn't make any of those mistakes. So I go, I mustn't do that. I mustn't do this. So yeah, it was an expensive way to learn, but I learned, you know.
Yeah. But I think that's the thing, is that it's just appreciating that it's fine. You know, it's okay to not be good at something straight away. It's okay to make mistakes. The key thing is to try, because if you do not try, you definitely are not going to get a result.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
If you do try, then at least you've got a chance of getting a result.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get it, you're actually closer to getting a result as well. So,
yeah.
Again, this is why it comes back to mindset. If people have the fear mindset, like basically what we've talked about, that the self-preservation of, if I do that, then it might not work out, or, you know, it might take so long for me to get there, or, you know, all these types of thoughts, then they're never going to try. But if we go with it, you know what? I actually don't know how this is going to go, but because I want to make this happen, let me just see what happens. That already such a more positive mindset. Even if something does go wrong, you're going to be more likely going, well, this happened. That's maybe why that happened. Maybe I shouldn't do that again.
And say one of the best ways to learn or to change or to make positive changes by making drastic action, because you either have success from it or you learn a lot from it. So, but like one drastic change, like if there was another, I watch a lot of motivational video things, but they like say if you're in a war and you want to take the island, the best way to do it is to burn the boats, because there's no way back. Drastic action, result.
Yeah.
And that could be anything. If you want to, like I went through this in the past, I decided a long time ago now that I wanted to be a coach, a physique coach. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work for myself and be a physique coach. And I was in a secure job, management role. I've been working with a company for 5 years. I'd had loads of recent training. I was on my way up to the next step. One day I just went, quit my job. Because if I didn't quit my job and take that drastic action, I would have never got to the next stage in my life to where I am now. I would have still been in that job, and I would have been comfortable, maybe not happy, but I would have been comfortable.
Yes.
But if I'd have never done, there would never been that push to go, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, because I need to start my business, because otherwise I've got no money and I'm screwed. And not everyone's in a position to do that, obviously, because you've got families, responsibilities and stuff. But if you're young enough or in a position where you don't have those responsibilities and you want to change your life, take drastic action, because that's the best way to get towards a goal, is to make a big change. And it doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to put you in danger, but it has to create that little uncertainty that you need to push you to something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's from experience, and I'm here now. I'm doing what I always wanted to do. I'm a personal trainer for like a nice residential gym. I have online clients. I coach physique preps. I'm doing what I always wanted to do, just from that one decision one day that I'm going to walk out of my job, my secure job that was paying me decent money, but it wasn't making me happy.
Yeah.
So and that's, but if I never did that, I guarantee you I'd still be in that job now.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been taking on clients because I wouldn't have time. I probably wouldn't have been competing myself at the level that I've been competing at because I wouldn't have time. But I would have some money coming in. You know, like, so it's, where are your priorities in your life? How happy do you want to be? Do you want to be comfortable or do you want to be happy?
Yeah. yeah, it all comes down to choice. And with me, I mean, I'll just quickly echo what you've said there. I mean, just in the case of transparency and just to show me myself, I was pretty much the same situation as Simon. I worked as an accountant in the finance sector, so I've been doing that for about 10 years. Then my contract, I worked as a contractor, so my contract ended, and then at that stage there, I was like, this is not this is not what I want, because I thought if I get another contract, I would not want to be doing what I'm doing. Fitness and all this whole aspect of it, this is more what I enjoy, it's more to my sensibilities. I want to help motivate people and show them that they can achieve whatever they want. So that is why I went on this path, and that's why I'm doing the things I'm doing now. It's up to us to make the decisions in our lives. Do they need to be as drastic as what Simon and I have just said there? They don't, but you need to have it in a way of, if you're not happy with something in your life, it's up to you to change it.
Yeah.
You need to take the first step. The first step is always the toughest, but that needs to come from you. After that, there's people that can help you, be it in terms of if it's even getting in shape. There's coaches that can help you if you don't know how to put things together in terms of, let's say, your nutrition or even your training. There's that support there, but that initially needs to come from you to go, I want this. The same as, let's say, even someone wants to learn how to drive, they need to make a decision of going, right, I want to be able to learn how to drive. Someone wants to learn how to play a guitar. The thing is, none of these things are forced upon anyone. No. You need to force it upon yourself to make it happen, and that's basically what Simon said and what I've said. They're extreme versions of that, but
yeah,
still the same thing.
Look at their jobs right now, but
everyone, Simon and Andrew said that they should just quit a job, you know. but the point is that if the things that we're doing in our life aren't giving us the happiness and the joy, then that's just going to make our lives more miserable. Because you said there, and I think it's beautiful what you said there. People need to decide, do they want to be comfortable or do they want to be happy? You can be both, but the happiness will come from you doing things that you want to be doing. If that makes you comfortable, then that's great.
Yeah.
But not often or not always are people both comfortable and happy. And if you're not happy and you're comfortable, you've got to realise, am I okay with that? If you are, that's fine, but then that means you're happy. But if you're not, then you need to change that, because it's not going to get any better.
Yeah, and also it's important to know that when you decide to take drastic change or you start to walk towards a difficult goal, your life immediately becomes more uncomfortable.
Yes.
And that's why people don't do it.
Yeah.
Because, I'm super happy doing what I'm doing, but sometimes it's harder than the stuff I was doing before. Like, I spend a lot more time, obviously I have to be in touch with clients all the time, so replying to people and making sure people know what they're doing. Like, there's the physical part of it, having to help people in the gym physically, so it's more physically demanding than my previous job. There's lots of things to consider, plus training myself. So it's not easy. I used to just work in a shop and pin people's suits up, and, it was an easy job, but it wasn't rewarding. So you have to get, there's a load of different fitness people say you get comfortable being uncomfortable, but it's true. If you want to work towards something, it's never usually that easy. It just, because it takes time and it takes effort, so it's not necessarily comfortable, but it doesn't mean you can't be happy.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of really a perfect sort of thing to sort of really end this sort of one on here as we're getting to sort of last 5 minutes. But I suppose I really want to just sort of say that it just comes back to a sort of phrase that I like to sort of, that I read somewhere, where it pretty much says that everything is difficult before it becomes easy.
Yeah, 100%.
It's basically what you pretty much were trying to explain there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that sums it up pretty nicely.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're trying to do something to get to the next level, to try to get a new skill, or we want to make that change in our lives because we know we're not happy with the situation we're in, we've got to stop thinking of if something's hard or not. What we need to think of is, do we want it or not?
Yeah.
Both of us to create the physiques that we've got. Both of us to create the physiques we've got. It's not easy, but we haven't got here because it's been easy. We've got here because we wanted it.
Yeah, you do. And if you didn't want it, you wouldn't put yourself through the difficulty to get it.
So
that's what you want to do, right?
So that's really, I suppose, the key message here. So with any goal that you've got here, you know, whether it be during this lockdown times, if it's something you're coming up with now, or something you even had like 5 years ago, 2, whatever it is, you've got to sit and think about why you're not doing it. Do you really want to do it? And if you do, you've got to take that massive action that Simon said here. Make that happen. You owe it to yourself. You know, we've only got one life to live here.
Yeah,
Make the best of it, and it's up to us.
Yeah, and you don't want to live with the regret of not trying. It doesn't cost anything to try something, usually.
Definitely. Brilliant. But yeah, no, thanks for that, Sam. I think we're getting to sort of last sort of few minutes of this before it sort of cuts off. But yeah, we'll sort of like check in with you sort of probably around about this time, sort of like next week. But it's been great to see that you had that little bit of a slump, you've got through it, and I think that's great that you sort of did share that, you know, to show people that it's not always rainbows and butterflies here. That is the graft, that is the effort. We have the low days, but it's about remembering, why am I doing this? And that is what keeps you going, you know?
100%.
There. Yeah, brilliant. So, yeah, so that has been the end of episode 7 of Quarantine Fitness and Life. I was here with my main co-host, Simon Chandler, who is at Shredded with Simon on Instagram. So I'd urge you guys to give him a follow as well. So we'll see you guys next time. Cheers for that, Simon. I'll speak to you later.
Yeah, take care. See you later.
Cheers.